This print inspired this video. I made this print when I was demonstrating a subtractive printmaking technique, and I removed the paint with a squeegee and then made a print from it. So I make these prints on my own acrylic painted papers, and you can watch a video about how I make acrylic painted papers. And this is a subtractive printmaking technique. I used either a squeegee or a piece of styrofoam to make these marks, removing the paint and then pulling a print from it. These two I later put some transparent glazes on to get these coordinating colored papers here. And one of my favorite tools for the subtractive method ended up being a piece of styrofoam that left these scratchy marks in it that read to me like the rings in a tree trunk. And then these, I'm going to be using artist palette paper that comes in a pad, and I've taped it closed so that it doesn't pull up when I'm printing. I'm going to be printing with white paint on dark ground. So I have already prepared these painted papers, and I have a video about that if you're interested in doing that. So I want to start with dark grounds. You could use colored paper that you purchased, you know, colored construction paper. And I'm going to print with white. If you had white paper, you're going to want to print with a dark color so that you'll have contrast. So I'll use a sponge brush to spread the paint on the palette paper, and then something to remove the paint, like this glass squeegee that I bought at the hardware store, or a screen printing squeegee, or even just a piece of styrofoam or cardboard to remove paint. My palette paper is a little bit bigger than my paper, so I don't have to cover the whole surface, just big enough to print my whole paper. That's something I don't want in there. All right. That's what happens when you try to use up old paint. Squished it around a little bit. You don't want to move it once you lay it down. Kind of avoiding pushing my hands through this paint on the edge. You also could put a piece of this palette paper on top, or wax paper, so your hands didn't go into the paint. Okay, so I think the paint's a little thick. I want it a little bit thinner. I like this texture better. So it took me a while to get my groove here. You want the paint to be pretty thin because you're pushing it around, and you don't want it to get too piled up. So here's where I'm pushing the paint and it's getting piled up in an area, but I really like these scrape marks. That's what I like. I recently started using this technique in my paintings on canvas, and the way I do that is I use the palette paper and I flip it onto the canvas and rub on the back. You can see this demonstrated in my video called Abstract Painting Tools and Techniques. There'll be a link for it up in the corner. So after the prints were dried, I decided to use my technique to create coordinating two-tone painted papers. And what that is I just water down color and do a transparent layer over the dried paint. And if you want to learn more about this technique, you can watch my video called Two-Toned Acrylic Painted Paper. This one got a little dark, so I didn't have enough water in the paint, so I wiped it down with a paper towel. This is just one technique. I really enjoy printmaking with acrylic paint, and it's very versatile, and I have a couple other videos you can check out if you're interested. I'll leave the links for those videos in the description. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching.